Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm Robert Jordan, the VP of Information Security here at the Credit Union. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a few items, a few ways that we're going to help protect yourself against bad actors or cyber criminals. So let's dive into it, okay? There's one thing you could take away from this today. It would be to enable multi-factor authentication, or MFA, on all your devices. What is MFA? Well, we call it many things: multi-factor authentication, two-step authentication, two-step verification, two-factor authentication, and 2FA. Many of you might use multi-factor authentication or MFA at your work or at your school, but how many of us actually use it in our day-to-day lives? MFA is a great way to keep the bad actors at bay because they can't reuse your password, your username and password, um, without having this second factor of authentication. So where should you protect yourself from this? Well, first and foremost, your personal email. Uh, Definitely do it on your email, your Gmail, your Yahoo. If you're old like me, your AOL, whatever personal email you have, you should definitely have MFA enabled on it. Second, all of your social media accounts, your Facebook, your TikTok, your Insta. You may be, if you're a Facebook user, an Insta user, you may know folks that have had their accounts taken over and locked out. If you have multi-factor authentication enabled and you're using it, you probably won't get locked out of that. It'll be much harder for the bad actors and cyber criminals to get that username and password to log into those accounts. If you use shopping, online shopping, your Amazon, Target, Walmart, wherever, you should also see if they have multi-factor authentication enabled for it. Amazon does. It's super easy to use, and I highly recommend enabling that for you. If you're a gamer, if you have a gaming software like Steam or Ubisoft, or you have an EA account, definitely put MFA on those so people don't get access to your gaming account, either lock you out there or steal some of the points and software that you have stored up on those gaming sites. And lastly, if you have a finance site, your banks probably will already have MFA enabled on it already. But if you use other finance sites such as Venmo or something lacking for another finance site, Robinhood, or one of those sites, you definitely want to have MFA on there to protect your financial pieces. So let's talk about the different types of MFA they have, okay? Um, we have SMS or voice MFA, which on the left-hand side we'll call as our weakest MFA option. It's better than zero. So if this is the only option you can go with to enable MFA, please do so. In the middle, we have an app-based MFA. Many of you that use it for your work are probably already using an app-based MFA, your Google Authenticator, your Microsoft Authenticator. These use token-based one-time passwords, or OTPs, which might seem cumbersome at first, but the more you use it, the easier it's going to get. And often you only have to do it every so often, not every time you log in. And lastly, we have our phishing-resistant MFA. These are small little hardware devices, tokens that you can plug into your computer. Again, many people need to use the phishing-resistant MFA. If you're a techie and want to try it out, please do so. I highly recommend it. But for most people, the app-based MFA would be sufficient to help protect yourself. So, Robert, why do we want to use all of these MFA devices on our screens and stuff? What are we trying to protect against? Let's go to the next slide, okay? We're trying to protect against malware, short for malicious software. That phrase has been coined since back in the 1990s. And today we're going to talk about three different types of malware: info stealers, crypto miners, and remote access Trojans, or RATs. Us technology people love our acronyms. We'll start with the info stealers. So these are small pieces of software that once they get on your personal computer, your device, they will steal all of your sensitive information, your login credentials, your finance details. If you have a cryptocurrency wallet, they're going to try and find that, and they'll do it sneaky on the sly, so you'll never even notice it's there. Crypto miners are a small piece of software that will use your system's resources to do crypto mining for cryptocurrency. So they're going to use your software's CPU power and its memory power to basically uh, siphon and mine and try and get that cryptocurrency token for them to make money. And last is the remote access Trojans. And these are particularly nasty, and they give access to your whole entire computer to the cyber criminal, so they can do whatever they want with it. Load other types of malware, or use your system as a jumping off point to go do other nefarious things and make it look like your IP or your home computer was performing a bad action. Now, malware is installed on your system, usually through three different ways we're going to talk about today. The first easiest way is through email. So you're going to get phishing or unsolicited emails that may contain links or attachments, and the bad actor is going to try and get you to download or open those malicious files. Malvertising is a newer one that's been very popular the past 5-6 years. And this is introduced through legitimate online advertisements. You go to CNN or Fox News, and they've got the advertisement banners on the top and the sides. Those bad actors will pay to get their advertisements on those sites to get you to either click on it, and in some cases, they'll deliver the malware without you even clicking on it at all. And lastly, malicious websites and browser pop-ups. Malware can be delivered through these as well. And we're going to show one of those as one of our examples here in just a moment. Okay. So here's two examples. The left one is a pop-up that might come up on your browser saying something's definitely wrong with the web page and you need to fix it. And they're so helpful, they're going to give you instructions on how to fix it. We call this the click fix malware for obvious reasons. You click to copy the malicious code, and then you're going to open up a console window in your own computer and type that malicious code in there, and then suddenly they've installed malware on your system. On the right is a fake virus notification, and this could be a pop-up, usually through a browser, and it will say, there you go, you've got some viruses, and you need to delete them and fix them right now. If you notice, both of these are doing one particular thing. They're telling you that something's broken and it's urgent and you should take action now. The bad actors are always trying to get you to take action immediately, give a sense of urgency to their notice, so you don't stop and think, is this a scam? Is this real? What do I need to do about it next? Okay. So the best way to protect yourself against malware right now is multi-factor authentication. If you protect your identity and your authentication, it's going to be harder for them to install that malware. There are many advertisement blockers out there on the internet. I would recommend getting the ones that cost a little bit of money. But there's also a free option from Cisco called OpenDNS. This allows you to block malicious websites as well as advertisements very easily to help keep you protected. If you're worried about malware disrupting your files, I would highly recommend you back up your important files on a regular basis. You should use some of the services listed here because they're immutable, which means they can't be modified or changed. In many cases, when bad actors access a system and there's a backup, they usually try and delete the backup. If you're using one of these sites, it's very difficult for them to delete that backup. You should use up-to-date antivirus software. If you don't want to pay for one, the out-of-the-box Windows OS Defender does have some basic protections. Just make sure that it's often up-to-date and getting the latest updates for it. And keep your regular software, your Adobe PDF, your Office suite updated, as well as your operating system, your Microsoft system, whether you're using a Microsoft system or a Linux system or a Mac OS system, make sure you're using some of the latest up-to-date software that has the security patches. Please avoid any pirated software or downloading it from the internet. While you actually will get the pirated software, they'll include a free copy of that software in there. It will also come with a little nasty surprise, and you may get one of those remote access Trojans as well in the back end. And also beware of phishing. This is a great segue into the next piece where we can talk about phishing. Okay. Talk about three types of phishing today. Email phishing, SMS phishing, and QR code phishing. For the standard phishing, we're going to talk about email phishing. It basically is just a simple social engineering where they're going to try and trick you into believing something on the page and get you to take action. Again, they're going to use a sense of urgency and time. They may threaten you with legal fines or loss of money, or your account's going to get locked out. So they're always going to try and get that sense of urgency on there to try and get you to take action. Now, many of the larger email companies, such as Gmail, already have some good phishing protections baked in. So the way that the cyber criminals are now pivoting is to send it directly to your phone in the form of SMS phishing. Now they're going to bypass all the protections. They're going to send you a little message with a little link for you to go ahead and click, and it will install malware on your mobile phone or get you to, or try and get you to start a conversation, whether they can build out a rapport with you so they can steal money later from you. And the last bullet point here is important to point out. AI is making this very easy for the bad actors and cyber criminals to do this at scale. We're seeing it a lot within the credit union, how the AI has made the phishing attempts, attacks against the credit union much more voluminous. So again, it's going to continue to make their lives easier and make our defender lives a little harder. So you have to be a little bit cautious of all the emails you see. Let's look at some examples of SMS phishing now, okay? On the left, you see a fake FedEx package tracking code that they're going to get you to try and click in this. Did you actually have FedEx arriving today? Were you expecting that package today? In the middle, everyone should have seen this over the past few months. Were there fast track lane tolls? Yeah, you've got to pay them right now. Otherwise, we're going to turn off your things and fine your license. Again, they're trying to get that sense of urgency to get you to click now, avoid the penalty. On the bottom left, look, your credit card has been put on hold. So now you need to call this number, where if you did call that number, you would reach a scam center that would pretend to be that financial institution and get you to divulge some private information so they can steal your money. The bottom right shows a fake IRS one filing lawsuits against you. Again, they're trying to get you to call. Notice that sense of urgency. It has to happen now. Otherwise, you're going to get a warrant out for your arrest. And lastly, at the upper right, hi. Now, that may seem pretty benign, but as I said earlier, this is one of the ways that bad actors will start a conversation with you. You may reply back, sorry, who's this? And they'll say, oh, my bad, wrong number. But I'm Jane, and who are you? And I just got back from my vacation, and here's some of my pictures. Would you like to have like sort of conversation? And then soon enough, that'll turn into cryptocurrency, and they're going to try and get you to invest in some fraudulent money scams that Puneet will talk to you later about. Okay. We're going to look at this later when we get the slide deck out to you. It is pretty much of an eye chart right here. But again, for email phishing, you could ask yourself a few quick questions. Were you expecting this email? Is it given a high pressure, requiring you to take immediate action? Is it an unexpected problem? Did you suddenly come into a windfall of an unclaimed prize? Or are there odd payment requests? Hey, you need to click here and pay by cryptocurrency to solve this problem. By looking at that and understanding that, take a moment, take a breath, review the email again, and watch out for the links and don't click anything that you're suspicious about from these. Let's look at some examples, okay? On the left, we see a fake Amazon email coming from you, and it will probably look like it's coming from Amazon. But now they're trying to say, uh-oh, something happened. You should verify your account. And if you clicked on that link, it's going to take you to a fake Amazon login page where they're going to try and steal your credentials. And if they steal your username and password, what would protect you? That's right, MFA. On the right-hand side, we see a fake PayPal one where they're sending you an invoice for something you didn't purchase. Well, now you're upset because someone's charging you $1,000. Now you need to call the phone number. And of course, they're going to say, well, yeah, you did. Let's have one of our support representatives log into your computer to try and fix it. Again, they're trying to scam you and do it. Do you actually use PayPal? If you do use PayPal, you can log in yourself and validate, did you receive this invoice really? Did you really buy something to validate that this is a true email from PayPal or not? And the bottom left, another Amazon one getting you to go ahead and call in a phone number. Again, they're trying to avoid some protections that a lot of people have put in place in terms of email. And if you just call that phone number, they will pretend to be Amazon and then try and steal your username and password and possibly even your MFA code if they're smart. Okay. So best ways to protect against phishing, MFA. Also use a password manager. Many of you probably reuse the same password on multiple sites. So if one of those sites was breached and that data was leaked out on the internet for cyber criminals to mine, they can use that same username and password on another site. Of course, if you have MFA, you've got a better protection. But a password manager allows you to store thousands of different passwords for thousands of different sites, and you never have to remember them. It sits in your browser, auto-populates it for you, makes your life a lot easier. Again, we talk about updating your antivirus software to make sure that it's up to date. And if you're really suspicious of an email or a text message, you can contact the other person by another method. Don't use email, don't use the phone number they have. In that last example, if it said a credit card uh, uh, was stolen or lost, or they've got a bad information on it, instead of calling the phone number on the text message, flip your card around and call the phone number at the bottom of the card. And always be cautious about opening attachments, even if sent by a friend or family member, because all of the things in the from line are very easy to be spoofed and hidden. Okay. QR code phishing is a new process that's happening right now. It's primarily hitting parking meters in many countries. So where you go to make a payment and you see a QR code, always give it a little thumb rub and see if it's someone put another QR code on top of the main sign. They'll also give you multiple ways of payments. If you notice on that image, there's the App Store. You can probably download something to make the payment instead of just clicking and using it. So back in COVID, there was a couple websites and emails that were requesting payment via QR codes that were getting people to click on it. There have been a few, but not many restaurant menus that have these. Again, they're going for the payment methodology. And sometimes people you have a package delivery notice on your doorstep for you to click, and they'll try and steal your information that way as well. Okay. Many of your phones, if you've got an iPhone or an Android, they do come with some built-in QR code protection, but not all. So you should never scan QR codes that are coming from unexpected emails. They're just randomly in public spaces. They're from unverified sources. While many of those out there on the internet are benign, you don't want to be that 1% that happens to snap and click the malicious link there. And when in doubt, if they give you the URL, go ahead and just type it into the browser instead of using your phone to click and go through it. Okay. So this is coming up to the end of my presentation. So what are the best practices you can do here today? Use MFA everywhere. Use a password manager. Again, with the open DNS or DNS protection and an advertisement blocker that will help keep that will keep away a lot of the malvertising. Keep your software up to date, especially your browser, your mobile phone, if possible, your home router. Use auto update to update when possible, if it's possible for those operating systems. If you have a mobile device, it's best to kind of use a screen lock on that as you walk away. And have it in case someone tries to steal your phone. They don't get full access to your phone. If you have a home network that's allowing guest Wi-Fi, it'd be great to put some of your IoT devices on it. If you happen to have a smart fridge, smart TV, smart washer and dryer, smart thermostat, putting those on your guest Wi-Fi in case those smart devices are compromised, it doesn't get into your whole entire home network. You should always change default usernames and passwords. And again, avoid pirated software. Last, but definitely not least, I'm going to say one more thing, multi-factor, all the things, all the times. And with that, I will pass it over to Puneet.
Hello, everyone. We're going to talk about the imposter scams and some of the fraud prevention methods you can use. So 4 things we're going to cover is the imposter scam itself. How do you protect yourself from those scams? And we're going to go through some of the real life examples that we have experienced, and then reminders on check fraud and ID theft protections. Okay, let's go to the next. So what's an imposter scam? It's basically where somebody is pretending to be another person and trying to gain your trust and trick you into giving them money. It could be money, access to your accounts, personal information, something of value. But the two key elements is they're not who they are and they're trying to gain your trust. And they do that by pretending to be someone through a fake caller ID. You can get a spoof call. They may have an employee ID or a badge number or other credentials that they have just made it up. It could be also where we have seen people send postal mail to you or present to you in person by making it look like an official letter. It might even have some of the fake seals, government agency names. It can look very real. You will believe them. And then they will also use any method. It's not just online. It could be through a call, text, email. Some of them will even show up on your door. So they sometimes even try to profile and then figure out who's the best candidate and then target. But two things never change. And that's one of the telltale signs for these imposter scams. One is they're preying on your greed or fear. I almost call it like something to lose. You're either trying to lose an opportunity, hey, get rich quick, or more often you'll be jailed, you'll be fined, you'll lose some value, your account is compromised, something or the other. There is something to lose. And then the other thing that comes in is the urgency to act. It has to be done now. It is now, now, and now. And I think those two play hand in hand. So if you go to next slide, these are some of the types of imposter scams. I'm not listing each and every one, but as we go through, what will emerge is what we put on the left is the same themes. There's urgency, there's fear of losing something. It starts with either an unknown caller, an unknown call, or unexpected call, someone who always asks you to stay on the phone. They don't want you to take an opportunity to reflect, think, or talk to someone. And more often than not, these days, they will coach you not to talk to anyone else and especially lie to the bank. And that plays out in a lot of scenarios these days. So let's go to some of the examples of the imposter scam. Customer service, that's a scheme where you may leave a negative review or some kind of complaint on one of the social media accounts. It's a discussion, and a person pretends to be from the customer service and they want to help you. And in the process of helping, they're trying to get access to your accounts. Bank scam. Somebody will call pretending to be from your bank and say you owe money or there's a fees or penalty or a due date missed, and they're there to help you with addressing that problem on your account. Employment recruiters, someone pretending to offer you a job if only you pay a certain sum of money to secure an interview. It could even be for resume review or some other service that is trying to get funds from you and sometimes account information. Family emergencies, they're trying to trick that one of your loved ones is trouble and you need to act now to help them. Common example, a family member of yours has fallen into an accident and they are in the hospital, and in order to process or move through the emergency department, they need money right away. Geek Squad, you receive a bogus invoice and immediately followed up with that is a call which someone says, hey, you'll be charged a lot of dollars because of that invoice that you signed up, but they're there to help you and cancel it. But you have to respond within a short period of time. Government impersonators, these are happening more often than previously. You'll have somebody from agencies like IRS, these days ICE, Social Security, or other agencies saying that you will be either imprisoned, deported, or facing penalties if you don't act now and send some funds. Jury duty, you miss some jury duty and you will be getting fined or arrested. Police, someone pretending from your local law enforcement, trying to help you to pay a ticket that somehow missed or was never mailed, or they will say that it was mailed but you didn't respond. Prizes, this is where they are trying to say if you will lose out on something by, if you don't act soon, you will not be able to claim that prize or a sweepstake. And then there's another one where you have to move your money out of your bank account now because it's in, they've identified some suspicious activity, criminal activity, and if you don't, you will lose out. It could all, they also call you by saying your account has been hacked and you need to change your credentials in order to protect your money. Tech support, like Robert covered, scammers will try to convince there's a problem on your computer and they're there to help you. And some of those will even go down and say, part of that is moving your funds because your computer was hacked and people have stolen your identity. Again, all of these, act now, fear of losing or something bad will happen, and they need to get you the information. Okay, let's go to next. So these are some of the stats I pulled from Federal Trade Commission website. It shows some of the most common fraud report that they receive, and this is from 2024 year, all the entire 4 quarters. The key takeaway from this is imposter scam happens to be one of the most prevalent scheme that is out there. And if you look at it, even just in California or Bay Area from San Francisco, Oakland, and Fremont, you will see imposter scam takes the largest slice. And my takeaway from this is please be cautious because it can happen. The fraudsters are professionals in one sense. They know what they're doing. They know how to get you hooked. They know how to trick you into gaining your trust. So just be vigilant. Okay. Next slide. So how do we protect ourselves? This is where, again, some of these may seem like very common, but they work. Monitor the accounts and monitor them frequently. And if you find any suspicious fraudulent activity, call your financial institution right away. There are certain deadlines for disputing transactions, and you don't want to miss those. Also set up real-time alerts. So whether it's for transactions, unknown payee, large dollar amounts, set up some alerts that go on your phone, on your emails, so you can monitor accounts and transactions. Second, do not give out your credentials, your username, password, whether you call it one-time passcode, SAC codes, PIN, anything, just don't give it to anyone, whether they pretend to be from your bank, whether they pretend to be from police. Those are the items you should not share. And I'll say this, we are all used to getting those one-time passcodes from different institutions, and we are so trained to just look at the number. But if you again go back to your phones and read the most recent, it always says, do not share your credentials or do not share this passcode. So again, just a reminder. Third item, do not trust any email, phone, text communication where the whole message is you need to send money now, or you need to send gift cards or wire transfer, especially from people you don't know. Do not trust them. If you need to, always call the number from a trusted source, whether it's on the back of your card, whether it's on the most recent statement, or a number you have verified on your own. Call that number. Do not call a number that is written on that fake email or the spoofed message you have received. And when in doubt, tell a friend or tell somebody you trust. Sometimes we are hesitant talking to other people for whatever reasons, but talk to them. They might be able to give you a perspective and help you not fall for that scam. And listen to your bank. A lot of scammers will try and pressurize you to not speak to your bank or to lie to your bank or credit union. They know that the credit union tellers, the call centers, they know the telltale signs when somebody is falling for a scam. And they are making sure that you as a member is not saying certain things and you are giving excuses that will not raise any red flags. And that's something that we'll always say, talk to your bank. If you're getting a message from your banker and saying, Are you sure you want to send this wire? Do you really know that person? Tell them frankly. This will help you, especially if the fraud scheme is about a penalty or a fine or something that is illegal and you're afraid of speaking out. I would say still talk to them or talk to a friend because they will help you. And again, know that you have certain rights and legal protections. So if you owe a bank, if you owe a debt, you missed jury duty or something, there are always legal methods. It's first of all, it's not right there and now. And the other thing is you may be able to have recourse to other options. So do not feel pressurized to act right away. And if you do not have to send money again right away, don't believe anyone that says none of these require immediate attention to send funds. So those are some of the tips that we would say how to protect yourself. All right, let's go to next. So here are some examples of real life fraud schemes that we have seen. The first one is government impersonator. This is where a member received a call or email by basically pretending from IRS saying that your money is in jeopardy if you leave it in the credit union. And if they want to protect the funds, then they should send it to a safe government entity. And the member was actually convinced to withdraw 50,000 in cash, lie to the teller, and not tell them what the purpose of the funds was, and then was asked to give the money in cash to someone they will meet in a driveway and give them the password, which actually happened. And it may seem bizarre, but actually, this is the power of somebody who's trying to trick you, get you on the phone, and convince you that you really have to do it. And that's the small time limit, the inability to talk to someone just adds that pressure. Again, key takeaway, trust your credit union and do not rush into sending money. The second one was a foreign government scam where somebody impersonated that they're calling from the Chinese consulate and that the member was involved in some activity which is considered a crime. And if they want to avoid the criminal charges, they have to send money through wire. The member was coached and pressurized to lie about the purpose of the wire. And it could be simple as, hey, I'm buying equipment, I'm sending it to a family member. Family maintenance is what they typically mention. And then luckily, the member became suspicious when they noticed that the funds were going to the Vietnam. So, now, even in that case, when we were approached, the funds were sent and could not be recovered. So that was a case, again, trust your credit union, do not rush into sending money. Let's go to the next slide. Romance scam. These two are going to be actually about romance scam. The first one, a member met another individual on match.com, struck a relationship, and from there, multiple conversations, text messages, till the time when the impersonator started asking for funds to help a family member. Starts with small dollar amounts, then increases, and it's a repetitive set of money. And then one day the person just disappears. Again, don't trust someone you have never met in person, and especially someone who you just met through social media. Another one, romance scam, and this involved crypto investment, where a member met somebody on social media and convinced the member to send wire transfers so that they can invest in a cryptocurrency. The member even opened an online investment account with guidance from the scammer, which happened to be a fake site, and they ended up sending significant sum of money. Again, the member was coached to lie on the purpose of the funds, the purpose of the wire, and they felt they could not speak to anyone. And this is where even when they were sending multiple wires, at some point, from our understanding, they felt something was not right, but they didn't feel comfortable talking to someone. And I would say, if you don't want to trust your bankers, at least call a friend. Next. Impersonators and account takeover. This was an instance where somebody spoofed our Stanford main line number, and using that, they call the member and said that there is a fraud on the account, and they need to provide the SAC code to confirm the identity. The member was shared the SAC code, and using that information, they were able to get access into the member's account and transfer money out. So again, don't share your SAC code, OTPs. The sixth one is where this is about a tech support. Somebody called, not an antivirus. They've also seen even some of the other companies, Microsoft, AWS, they'll call and advise that they need access to your device so that they can fix an issue on your computer. The fake tech support will log into your computer, access your credentials, and then log into your bank accounts and start transferring money. Again, do not give access to your device to anyone. And don't fall for someone just calling out of the blue and saying, we need to fix your computer or your device. Okay, let's go to next. So these are some of the reminders. We are moving to check fraud protections, just covering some of the common pieces. And again, check fraud, just to refresh, it's more about instance where somebody is using your checks and altering them, whether it's by erasing them, by writing additional material, or they're taking an image of your check and creating fake checks, which can be done by stealing mail and getting a copy of how your checks look like or through other means. How do you protect yourself? Monitor the accounts regularly, same thing, alerts, reviewing your statements, sign up for e-statements so that you get those delivery of statements directly and it is kept private. Use black gel ink on checks. Those are hard to erase. They're hard to be altered through check washing. And, it just adds a protection. Safe check writing. Don't leave too much blank spaces. Have space after the dollar signs or before dollar signs. Strike that out or add any personal information. Get mail promptly from your mailbox. Don't leave it overnight. And when sending checks, again, send it to the post office mailbox or one of those designated. Delivery updates wherever possible. Sign up for tracking, confirmation of delivery, and the ability, you can even these days sign up for where you get alerts when your letter is coming from USPS. And then be wary of sending money. So this is a common scheme where you will receive a payment and immediately they'll ask you to give you back some money by checks for any reason. Overpayment, it could be wrongful payment. And then the money they're asking is through wire or other electronic means. And typically you'll notice that the check you have received is a bad check. So again, be careful where you have to send money right after receiving a check or sending a check. Okay. So identity theft, these are some of the reminders on how to protect yourself. Monitor your credit reports. You can access your credit report once without a cost annually through annualcreditreport.com. Review to make sure all your accounts are updated, especially even things like address information, employment, accounts that you have closed are correctly shown as closed. And anything where you see credit alerts for accounts you never applied, even though there may not be an account, but if there is an inquiry, keep an eye on those on your credit reports. If you're not looking for a loan in the next few months or in the near future, I would say place a temporary or permanent credit freeze with each of these bureaus so that nobody can open an account without your knowledge. You can also, for a short period of time, create fraud alerts with any of the credit bureaus. Claim your Social Security account. Previously used to get those Social Security statements in postal mail. Social Security Administration have recently changed their login. I believe you now go through a central login process. Open that account and make sure you are reviewing those details at least once a year. And again, you don't have to be retired to start looking at that. You may want to start looking at now just so that you know nobody is accessing or there's any incorrect activity on those accounts. Again, sign up for informed delivery with the USPS so you know when when a postal mail is coming. Visit identitytheft.gov. That's a resource where if you believe you have been a victim of identity theft, that's a place where you go in, file in the initial report, and then start working through that process. It gives you all the helpful guide on how to go through that process. Keep your financial records in a safe place, whether it's your Medicare, Social Security, card accounts, other informations in a safe place so that other people cannot get access. And last but not least, and I think we have covered it in a few places, do not give out your credentials, your personal information to anyone who calls, emails. You pick up a phone and say, I'm calling from this bank, and before I can speak to you, we need to verify your name and your credentials. You're not even processing what that whole information is about and passing on that information. So be wary on sharing any of that information. And I think that's pretty much from our content. Next slide. You can learn more. Here is a QR code, and Robert will again remind you to be careful where you click on QR codes, but this one is genuine. So, all right, let's take it from here. Emma, do you want to add? So let's open up the conversation for any Q&A,
We got some already published in here. I can read them out here for you, Puneet, and see for the first one, see if you want to answer this one.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Mary is curious about what we'd recommend to monitor and protect against identity theft. They use LifeLock, and they caught a fraudulent loan in the process. So great, congratulations. If they're wondering if there's any other or more effective services that you might recommend.
I think there are a lot of the identity theft services offered by the credit agencies itself, whether it's Experian or TransUnion. They also have some of those services. LifeLock is actually one of the recommended. I'm not going to say one service or the other preferred, but I believe a lot of these services offered through your credit union, your financial institutions should be effective, but sign up for at least one of those.
Dee Dee's asked if we can briefly reflect on yesterday's AWS outage, and if we're vulnerable to centralization risk. I can briefly answer that. The credit union was not directly impacted by the AWS outage. We were indirectly added. We had a number of third parties and fourth parties that were directly impacted. So some services did have some degradation yesterday, but we are not vulnerable at this time to a centralization risk. Gabriella asks us, how safe are password managers? Most of them are safe. There was one back in 2022 that was breached, and all the passwords were obtained by cyber criminals. Now they are encrypted, but they weren't encrypted with super strong encryption. And so slowly those passwords are beginning to get cracked and opened up and viewable by the bad actors. If you're looking for some password recommendations, some of the stronger ones, no affiliation with the credit union, but just going off the top of my head, Keeper, Bitwarden are two good ones there. 1Password also is a decent one, so you can look at those and gauge the security for yourself. Again, you always run the risk when using a third party, but those three have some really good security baked into their product. Kevin asks, scammers are spoofing the credit union's 888 phone number. How can users trust an incoming call is really from SFCU? And I think Puneet and I would agree, you cannot. It is an easy scam for folks to spoof the phone number. One of the protections we've recently put in place is that we are no longer putting links into our SMS messages. So if you receive a text message from the credit union and it contains a link, it may not be us. Double check before clicking through.
And I would say one little thing I'll add to that is if you are not sure, hang up and call the 800 number you know.
Yes, great advice.
All right.
Ruby asks if there is a real threat to the bank account, like someone impersonating them and trying to access their money, and what steps does SFCU take to protect its customers? Multiple. I'm not sure if you want to take a first step at that, Puneet, of external threats and account takeovers
So
specifically.
specifically, I would say you have a few things. It depends on the nature of how you're getting. But if you believe you're being potentially targeted for impersonation, first of all, if you are engaging with a conversation with somebody who's spoofing, whether it's a phone call, email, again, hang up, go and check to your bank account just to make sure your transactions, there's nothing wrong in those activities. Change your password credentials, change your confirm that your uh, contact details are still correct. Your email, your phone number, your address, there's no unauthorized changes to those transactions. Set up alerts. Again, those reminders we would say is what will help protect you. And again, don't send the money right away if somebody's asking for it.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Lisa's asked if we can briefly talk about how we can use an authenticator app. I'll try and do my best in a fast amount of time here. You can download the free apps for Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator on your App Store. Once you have it, if you go to one of the sites such as Amazon or Gmail and you want to enable the two-factor authentication there are some processes they'll go through. Well, you probably will take a picture of a QR code. Yes, that's a thing. It will then connect into the app, and suddenly you will see inside your mobile app, your Authenticator app, that website now has a one-time password code associated with it, and it will rotate every 30 or 60 seconds. Uh, the website that you're using will ask you to uh, test that it worked right by entering in the one-time password code. So you type in those 6 digits and hit enter, and it should sync up and say you're good to go and moving forward. You can use that app. I think it's a great takeaway for me. We might want to put together a booklet on how to do it for everyone and share it out. I think we answered Pat's question about identity theft services earlier here. Um, did Robert say malvertising can affect our computer even if we don't click the link? Yes, I did. Again, you're not clicking a link, but the web page itself has to, the web page itself is reading URLs in the background to display those images. And so it is like your computer, your browser is going to that website to present that advertisement to you. And if it's a malicious advertisement, that one click there could then suddenly try and break a vulnerability within the browser. If your browser has a vulnerability open with it, and then it could install the malware. So this is one of the purposes of keeping your browser software up to date. We call these zero-click malware. Not super in the wild, but they're there. So always keep your browser software up to date so there's no vulnerabilities in it to help protect it, and use an advertisement blocker. Do you got one there, Puneet?
Yeah, there was one that we missed. I think it's from Carrie. When I request a wire transfer, someone at SFCU calls me to verify the wire. Great. How do we navigate the world of spoofing your number for these calls? A couple of methods, I would say. Again, if you are even the slightest hesitation, hang up, call the 800 number, call the member care number, and have them ask them to reach out to the wire department. That's the best way if you are worried. Uh, Sometimes, and this is just me personally, when I get a call where I'm expecting a confirmation from my bank or my credit union, I would first ask their name and something that speaks to which a credit union would know, like, hey, which location are you calling from? What's your address? Or even sometimes, a question that they would answer on your account, like, hey, which are you talking about my, you know, spending account, my checking account? Sometimes I do that, but ideally what you want to do is hang up and call them again. So let's look at next question. Are these slides available for download? We'll be sending these slides after this call. And any safety measures needed for Zelle? Again,
I'm not familiar for what they offer. Do you know, Puneet?
sorry?
I'm not aware of any extra safety measures for Zelda. Are you familiar with any?
Nothing other than the fact that you should be very careful who you're sending money to. Make sure you know that person. Don't send it to anybody who just asks for the Zelle. A lot of times what we have seen is people falling for requests for Zelle transfers through social media, and members fall for that and send money. So again, make sure you know who you are sending, and it should be for a known purpose. Do you want to take the next one, John, Robert?
What is the SAC code?
Secure access code is the word we use, I guess. This is similar to PIN number or OTP. It's just our verbiage. I'll take the next. If you lock your credit, do you still need a service like LifeLock? I would say yes. That's an added layer of protection. When you lock your credit, it is with the agency, credit reporting agencies, for purposes of someone not able to open an account. But again, just to make sure that you have that monitoring, it is best to still get the additional layer. So a question from Priya: can SFCU please enable the ability for customers to get a PIN if there are transactions greater than X dollars, where X is settable by the customer? That is a suggestion we can definitely take and consider in the future upgrades.
Lawrence asks, can scanning a QR code itself, if you do nothing else at the website, infect your device, or is the only danger if it takes you to a website and you enter information? Technically both. The latter is the more prevalent scam of them trying to steal information after you go to the malicious website. Not that they have malware at that website that they're trying to infect you with. It's possible. The likelihood's a little lower on that, though. And Brie also says, can we enable 2FA via YubiKey? I'd love to do that. Great suggestion. We'll look into that. Use that as a takeaway as well.
Rosie asked the question, will putting a freeze on my credit account affect my credit score? No, that should not affect your credit score. Heidi asked for a copy presentation. Yes, we'll be sending those. Next question is, will SSU be offering FIDO passkeys as MFA?
I'm not sure about offering. We can look into that. We can get back to you there, Carl.
And then the next question, how would you know high-level malware has been put on your device? You mentioned we may not have any idea.
Very true. Most of the malware that's going to run will not impact your device at all. It will run in the background, and you should not notice most of it. If you're using an up-to-date anti-malware, antivirus software, it hopefully should pick it up with its activities and ping you that, hey, we found this piece of malicious software on your device. In some cases, you may notice that your machine is running very slowly, or maybe the fan is running 24/7 constantly. Those might be indicators. They can also just mean you have some other processes on your machine that are kind of run away and broken. But in many cases, you may not know you have malware until you get a good scan that has the signature to find that malware. And then Heidi asked any suggestions on protecting our information on the ATM machines or other locations where we just tap our credit cards. I think they're looking at the tap instead of the swipe. Any from you there, Puneet?
Few things I would say if you're looking at ATM machines, just kind of take a look at it that there are no signs of tampering, like a little device on part where you insert your card or tap your card. Just be aware of signs where you can see other people are standing very close by, which it might be a sign that they're trying to fish for that information. Other than that, where you're tapping again, just be careful where you're tapping. Very unknown locations, unfamiliar locations where the machine doesn't seem to be part of the equipment. It's something that's a side attachments that's just not attached to the cash machine and is kind of tempered, or there are something sticking on top of it. Just be careful of those kind of devices, and that would be my recommendations. Do you want to take the next question, Robert?
Yeah, is there any anti-malware software good for Macs? And I think that we missed one. They're also talking about another anti-malware software in general. I'll talk personally, no relationship with the credit union or whatnot, but I use a product called Sophos, Sophos. They have a home version of their product that's used on both Mac and Windows. There are, I think, about another 10 other out there. Most of them will find 99% of the malware that you're going to be worried about. So it kind of comes down to a personal preference there for that. The next one here, Sasha's asking about a YubiKey. What is a YubiKey? I'll pull mine out of my machine here. I'm not sure if you can actually see it here, but it's a very small little device that you can then plug into your machine to use as a second factor. So the first factor is my username and password. My second factor is this hardware device that's plugged in machine, something I have here. And it's spelled YUBI, I believe. Yes, YUBI key is the product's name. There are other FIDO type hardware keys like this. YubiKey is one vendor that does it, but there are others. The SFCU website, where do I go to enable the 2FA? The 2FA is already enabled in the background for our applications. So we're basically looking at your device or your computer you're accessing from and using that as the thing you own, which is your computer. So if you went to another computer and tried typing your username and password, it'll probably send you another link to your email to validate that are you really logging in. That's many of the banks use that, so all of their members or folks don't have to use a mobile authenticator. Dale asked to provide some names of antivirus software which you can research. I mentioned Sophos. McAfee has a product. Norton has a product. Bitdefender has a product. So again, lots of them out there. I think it's personal preference. You can ask your friends and family what they use. If you're a Microsoft user, Microsoft Defender comes out of the box and should be running. That is a product. Yeah. We're about 1 minute away. I think we got one more here, Puneet.
Yep. Please let members know that we can ask the credit union to add a verbal password as another verification of our identity when you call into SFCU. I did that and it gives me peace of mind. So definitely I'll agree with that. Follow up, if you have a Mac that is no longer updated, what can I use?
Well, again, if you got an older Mac, the best recommendation is don't use it for highly sensitive information for yourself, and get a newer computer to get the newer update. I know it's a poor answer, but if it's no longer being supported by the the operating system, then it may have vulnerabilities that even an antivirus software is not going to be able to fix.
Sounds good. I think we are at the end of the questions as well as the end of our time. So thank you everyone for coming. I hope you found this as helpful and informative.